Hiya, I see you're back. This is the tutorial for the lightweight Isabel top. I finally figured out and made an Isabel top in a lightweight fabric. So it's more of kind of a blouse, I would say, or a shirt. The biggest advantage of this method is that on the inside, there's pretty much no exposed seams. Like the shoulder seams are all tucked away nicely. The yoke seam also very nicely tucked. There are no flappy like facing bit. For the original Isabel, the reason I did it like that is because my fabric was so thick that there was no way it was gonna not look really bulky if I used this method for that fabric. Just to compare the inside of the first Isabel top that I made, another addition to the tutorial that I added is I bias binded the sleeve seam. You can barely see it now. The only seam that you can see is the side seam. Another pretty big improvement it has is that it kind of like sits baggy. It looks like it's trapping air. But for the new method, I've done a placket along the edge so that it's just folded back and there is no facing. For this one, I did also add the ruffles. I do show you how I did it in the tutorial, but they are just decorative. Because this is kind of like an extension of the original pattern, I would say go watch that video or at least skim through the instructions just so you kind of get a gist of how it comes together. But it's not entirely necessary because in the tutorial I do go through every single step. Let's begin. Here's everything you'll need. First, you'll need some fabric. You can go as low as 120 GSM. I think the one I used here is about 150, and you're going to need about 1.5 to 2 meters depending on your size and whether you want to make the long sleeve or not. Next, you'll need some fusible interfacing. Pick a color that is similar to your main fabric and also make sure it is the same weight or lighter than your main fabric. You'll also need some bias binding. With this specific method that I use in this tutorial, you only need one side of the bias binding press. If you're making it yourself like I did, you will need to cut it 2.5 centimeter width. However, if you're buying it, purchase a 1.5 centimeter single fold bias binding and just iron out one side. I do want to warn you, bias binding the armhole in the video, it looks more confusing than it actually is, especially if you don't have the piece in front of you because it's kind of hard to imagine what all of the parts I'm talking about are. I would say if you are a fresh new baby beginner, go back to the original Isabel tutorial and just sew the sleeve in the way I did there. Next, you'll need some buttons. These are 12 millimeters and you're going to need about 2 or 3. And finally, some optional trim. You will need an overlock or some kind of method to finish your seams. So for this new construction method, we are going to need to adjust some of the pieces that are cut. Firstly, we need to add the placket, and we do this on the front bottom piece. We start by marking a notch where the inner line hits the edge at both ends. Then we need to extend the front edge by 2.5 centimeters from the outer line so that we can fold it back. I like to do this before completely cutting the pattern out so I don't have to faff with adding extra paper here. But if you have already cut yours out, just tape any kind of paper to the edge. After drawing this, I cut around the whole piece. In addition to this, you will have to interface this section, so cut another piece the same length as your front piece and 2.5 centimeters wide, so it's just a rectangle. This will be labeled cut 1 pair facing. Next, we need to cut the interfacing for the front top piece so that the buttons have a bit more to grip onto. There should be a dotted line next to the text that says center front. We are going to fold the pattern along this line. Then, where the front edge sits now in the center of the pattern, just extend it upwards in a straight line so that it hits the shoulder seam. Now cut along this new line. We will need 1 pair of this cut out in interfacing. I have printed out the front top piece twice for demo purposes. However, you can also just cut this piece out in your main fabric and then adjust the pattern and reuse it to cut your interfacing. Here are all of my cut pieces as well as a cutting chart. The text in red are all of the new pieces and the changes, and the grayed out ones are the pieces I did not cut. I also didn't put pockets in this one. Everything is finally prepared and we are ready to sew. As always, everything is sewn with a 1 centimeter seam allowance unless stated otherwise, and backstitch at the start and at the end of every stitch. Firstly, you're going to want to interface 1 pair of your front top pieces. Match them up to the edges and then give them a good press. Take 1 fused piece and the corresponding unfused piece and place them right sides together. Sew along that front edge and press the seam open. Now take the front bottom piece and iron the interfacing to the placket extension. Match the interfacing to the notch we just made and it should sit 1 centimeter away from the edge. Proceed to press the placket into place once 1 centimeter in from the edge and then again at the notches. Top stitch this along the inner edge in place. Next, match the notches at the top to pleat the fabric and then sew a small line close to the edge to keep it in place using a 0.8 centimeter seam allowance. Now we need to sew the front pieces together. Place the pieces right sides up and make sure the side that has been fused is on the top. Place the front top piece right sides together over the front bottom piece, making sure the seam along the front edge on both pieces match perfectly. Then turn the other front top piece to the back and pin in place along the top edge. As you are sewing this, make sure all 3 layers are lined up, as the middle layer can tend to want to slip. When you reach the corner, turn and stitch a few more stitches right over the previous line of stitching. This is so that you can cut the corner without the thread unraveling. After you've trimmed the corner, turn the top pieces right sides out and you should have one side of a full front. Finally, press both sides along this seam while making sure the fabric is as open as possible. Repeat for the other front panel and place to one side. Next, we are sewing the collar. First, interface the top collar, then place it right sides together with the bottom collar before sewing along the curved edge. Then turn it right sides out, pressing and finally top stitching. I chose to continue the decorative stitching here too. I do apologize, I am missing a few clips here, however the original Isabel tutorial does show the whole process, so I would like to kindly guide you over to that if this part is confusing. Now onto the back piece. Use the notches to pleat this piece along the top and sew a small line of stitching close to the edge to hold it in place once again with a 0.8 centimeter seam allowance. Give the pleat a press. Similarly to the front piece, you want to sandwich the back piece between the yoke pieces. Make sure the wrong side of the yoke is facing outwards on both sides. Pin and stitch along the top edge. Holding the seams as open as possible, give it a press. Now bring your front pieces to your back piece to the corresponding shoulder seam. Make sure your pieces are right sides up and bring the shoulder seams right sides together. Now you should have 4 layers along the shoulder seams. Pin and sew only the 2 middle layers. Press open the seam. Now making sure we are only working with 1 layer, pin the collar to the right side of the yoke and along the neckline. You also want the top collar, which is the side that has been fused, to be facing up. Continue pinning the collar until it matches up with the notch that is 1 centimeter off from the center front. Your notches should all match, so make sure this part is accurate. Sew the collar into place using a 0.8 centimeter seam allowance. Turn the piece wrong side up so it looks like this. Now we need to sew the inner shoulder seam. Match these right sides together like shown. You need to kind of rotate the pieces, but obviously they're anchored down by the other seams, and if it feels weird and wrong, then you're probably doing it right. Pin and sew both shoulder seams. This seam can be a bit hard to press, so I use a pressing ham. However, you can just bundle up some fabric or place a towel underneath. When you turn the shoulder seams to the correct orientation, it should look like this. Now we need to sew the neckline closed, and to do that we will be using the burrito method. And yes, that is the actual name. The only difference is we need to burrito the front pieces as well. So roll them all up like so, and then using the open edges along the top of the armhole, turn the front pieces into the inside of the front top pieces. For the back piece, you want to almost wrap the yoke around the burritoed fabric. Finally, tuck the collar inside the yoke as well, then rotate the piece so that you can match the yoke pieces and the collar together along the neckline. Here I'm going to show you again, just in case you missed it the first time, because it is a bit confusing. You also want to turn out that front top piece, as you can see here, so that the corners are out. Pin along the neckline from the front edge to the other front edge and stitch along the entire line. I also went around the corner at the start and at the end, like before, so that I could trim the corner without the thread unraveling. As you're sewing, make sure you are not catching any other part of the fabric between the two layers. Turn the piece right sides out and press along the neckline. Starting from the armholes, top stitch along the yoke seam as well as the front top edge all the way around the neckline, down and around to finish at the other armhole. Your top should look like this now. Next, overlock the side seams. I did this at a later stage, however you should do this now. It just means in some of the next clips you won't see the overlocking. Place your garment to one side. Now for the sleeves, if you're attaching trim, do this first. You can skip these steps if you don't want to add trim and simply overlock and top stitch. Once again, you can always reference the first tutorial. I just gathered this trim and then stitched it right sides together with the trim facing upwards along the hem. Then overlock and press and top stitch to finish. I did do the decorative stitching here too, however the fabric was only single layer, so it scrunched up a bit. If you want to put the decorative stitching here, I would suggest adding some kind of interfacing at the back. It does look fine at the end, so it didn't bother me too much. Next, fold the pleats and top stitch a small line to hold it into place using a 0.8 centimeter seam allowance. Pin the sleeves right sides together into the armhole. There is some ease, so space this out evenly over the top of the sleeve before sewing into place. Now for the bias binding. Stitch it to the entire armhole, matching the unfolded edge to the edge of the armhole. Trim the seam allowance back to about 0.5 centimeters. Then understitch the seam allowance to the binding side. Fold and press the binding to the inside of the garment. Temporarily unfold the binding and stitch the entire side seam. Press open. Also, I do apologize. I don't know how I thought I was filming this. I didn't anticipate this being so hard to see, but take the folded edge of the binding and wrap it around the seam allowance and then fold it again so that it is sitting against the inside of the garment. Pin and top stitch around the whole armhole close to the folded edge. Next, finish the hem. You can do this in the same way as the original tutorial, however I decided to carry the trim onto here too. I basically used the same method as the sleeves, however with the hem I had to finish the ends of the trim with overlocking and then top stitching under. Here I'm just top stitching the hem to finish. Finally, mark out your buttons and your buttonholes. Remember to pin the collar so that there is a 2 cm gap between the 2 collar points. If you would like a more comprehensive walkthrough on how and where to position your buttons, check out the original tutorial or the illustration in the instructions. Congratulations, you have just finished the Isabel blouse. Thank you guys so much for the love on this pattern. I do like this idea of kind of giving my patterns software updates and kind of reiterating it for different purposes. That's it from me for now though. I will see you next time very, very soon. Bye.